Welcome to The Checkout. We catch up with previous Add to Cart guests and ask them 5 quick questions to get to know them better and leave you with a little extra inspiration to get you through your Friday.
Today's checkout features Zhoe Low, General Manager of July. Launching in 2019, the premium luggage and lifestyle brand was soon plunged into a 90% loss of revenue due to the COVID pandemic, but it bounced back with revenue now reaching 10 times higher than pre-COVID figures. Zhoe has delivered the data-driven creative campaigns behind this phenomenal growth, as well as a whole bunch of other initiatives that she tells us about. Zhoe, thank you so much for joining us on The Checkout. We've heard the July story with Ethan earlier on Add to Cart, and then you gave us a brilliant view on what 2022 held and what you think is coming up for 2023 on that main episode. We're here to learn a little bit more about you. So 5 quick questions. Number 1, what's the weirdest thing that you've ever bought online?
I buy lots of weird stuff because, when you work in e-commerce, you're just curious. I would say I got TikTok trapped by a garlic crusher the other day. It was so stupid. It's you have a handle and you roll it like a...
Oh yeah, I saw that. I almost bought it.
I haven't even used it. That's the sad part. I just buy shit and then I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then it arrives later and I'm like, oh man, why did I buy this useless?
All right, number 2, who is your favorite retailer?
I have 2. This is a July favorite retailer. We love Aesop, depending on how you pronounce it, because our goal as July is to be an iconic global Australian brand. And there's no one better than Aesop and Zimmerman actually.
Yep.
And a smaller one, because I love small businesses, is there's actually 2. There's one called Haricot Vert. I just butchered that pronunciation. It's green beans in French. It's a New York brand. And basically they take all these little charms and they do something special to them and they make beautiful necklaces and bracelets and it's so unique. And I've never seen anything like it. And then the third one is an Aussie small business called Nonna's Grocer. And they do fruit shaped candles. They look so much like tomatoes and capsicums and limes and lemons. It's unreal. I cannot believe how good it is.
We moved on from that question around the weirdest thing you've ever bought online.
I know, but I haven't bought it because I'm just I haven't bought it for myself. I actually want to buy a lot of them for our Christmas gifts to our suppliers this year. So I'm pretty excited.
That's cool. We'll put a link to all those stores in the show notes. Number 3, which e-commerce practice do you wish was history?
I think for us and the perspective of July, we were so happy when we discovered the power of in-person customer service and in-person interaction with the brand. And we were proven right by the success that we've seen through our retail stores, but also seeing so many amazing Aussie D2C brands branch out from e-commerce. So LSKD, so many people start their retail stores. And I think a lot of e-commerce businesses are starting to realize that, online only, and Shaun touched on this, is awesome. And your margins are great and everything, but nothing beats in person. And it is so hard to attribute. And that's why as a marketer, you're this is really hard. How am I going to measure the return? But I can say for sure, they keep coming back. Everything about it, there's a huge halo effect. So that's why I hope for all Aussie retailers to start trying in a pop-up format or in a more permanent format.
Yeah. So a real presence. Number 4, can you recommend a book or a podcast that our listeners should immediately get into?
I recently read a book. It is by Tony Fadell, and it's called Build. And Tony Fadell, if you don't know him, is the father of the iPod, and he's also was the CEO of Nest. Is a new book. I think it was launched this year or last year. My dad bought it for me because we were going on a family trip. And it was funny because I read it, then my husband read it, and then my dad read it all on the same trip because we flew through the book. And it's really good if you're anyone that works with a physical product, because he talks about all the challenges. And so it's a good book to feel really validated and to feel that you're not alone, and a really good book because he's been through the whole thing, the whole shebang, all the way to selling. So he also talks a lot about teams and how your teams change as your business grows. And I found that the most valuable.
That's a great recommendation, one we haven't had before. So thank you. Last question I have for you. Finish this sentence. The future of retail is?
I'm going to go back to authentic, amazing human connections, because we're coming off the back still. People are still recovering from COVID and people are still really craving it. And I think that will just keep going for next year. Next year, again, with the revenge travel, like people are just going to be like, yo, I'm going to live my best life ever. I've been locked in for 2 years. You know, I want all the connection that I can get once they get over the, you know, transition.
Yeah, ours to decide. I like that better too. That was good. Zoe, thank you so much for joining us on the checkout. To hear more from Zoe, jump back into episode 253, where Zoe shares the affiliate marketing platforms she's most interested in. She also shares why she thinks sexual wellness is a category well worth watching in 2023 and why she spent Black Friday on a yacht in the Andaman Sea. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep adding to cart.